let's talk about chord extensions. So far, you've learned that a chord has 3 notes in it: the root, the third, and the fifth. But you can extend chords and add extra notes. If you keep counting, I can go 2 notes higher and add a 7th, or even a 9th. Probably start to need to use 2 hands to reach some of these. Now, these 7ths, 9ths, any of these extensions can also be modified to be major or minor, and we can take a look at that. So with 7ths, you've only got 2 states they can be because the 7th is going to be a half step below the root. You can't really raise the major 7th, it just becomes the octave. But for now, let's take a look. So if I take a C chord and I play the B, which is in the scale, I've got a major chord, and a half step below the octave, I've got a major 7th. Now, if I were to take a minor chord, like an A minor, and if I play the note that's in that scale, the G, natural, I've got a minor 7th, minor chord, and a minor 7th, which is a whole step below the octave. And those are the most natural sounding ones. You just add the note that's in the scale. When you start to add notes that aren't in the scale, you'll start to get some dissonance. So for example, if I take a major chord, like a C major, and then instead of adding a B, I add a B flat, I lower the 7th, it becomes what's called a dominant chord, or a dominant 7th. Now conversely, I can take an A minor chord, and I can take that minor 7th that I had, because I have a minor chord plus a note, a 7th that is a whole step below the octave. I can raise it up a half step and get a minor chord with a major 7th, which is a really cool sound. Very tense, right? Super fun. So the 7th really has to do with what type of chord you're doing and the value of the interval itself. So you can take a major chord, add a minor 7th, flat it, and you've got a dominant 7th chord. Or you can take a major chord and just add a regular 7th and get a major 7th chord. You can take a minor chord and add the 7th that's in the minor scale, the natural minor scale, and get a minor 7th. Or you can raise up that note and get a minor chord with a major 7th, which is a really interesting kind of sound. Now, 7ths are not the only extensions. You can go for a 9th. So if I take a C chord, okay, B would be my 7th, go 2 notes higher, and I've got a 9th. Some of you might say, wait a minute, that's the same note as note number 2. It is. So when is it a 7th and when is it a 9th? Well, generally, if you're sticking it in the middle there, that would be a C chord adding a 2. But if I stretch it out, put it on top, it's definitely got a 9th feel. Now, your 9ths can also use the 7th. So you can have a dominant 7th and a 9th chord. You can have a minor 7th and a 9th chord. 9ths, 13ths, 11ths, all of those other extensions, if you keep adding on, can actually have 3 states because they're not so close to the root. So I can have a 9th chord and then have a flat 9 where I lower the 9th and take it out of the diatonic scale. Okay? Which is nice if I'm going to go to a minor chord after that. Like that. I can also have my regular 9th, which is the one that's diatonic to the scale, and I can have a sharp 9, which gets really dissonant because then you're using an E and an E flat. You're using the major third, and the sharp 9 becomes a version of the minor third. Jimi Hendrix used to love to do that. So if you play like an E chord, okay, and then you add a 9th, and then you sharp it. So my 9th would be the F sharp, okay? Nice, beautiful sound. But then I raise it up, make it a sharp 9 to a G natural, technically an F double sharp if you wanted to be a theory nerd. And you've got this really dissonant sound that, again, was very Hendrix. You'll hear guitarists do that a lot, so if you want to play along, you can. So again, you can count these extensions. You can add a chord and then go, okay, 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th. And when you're working with sevenths, they're going to be, you've just got the regular major seventh and minor seventh. Depending on the chord underneath, that's going to dictate the quality, whether it's dominant or minor. But with the other chords, with the other extensions, like a ninth, you can actually have a flat ninth, a regular ninth, and a sharp ninth. It gives you a little bit more flexibility to try out a lot of neat chord extensions.